Hello, I'm Scott. Welcome to our third Maya modeling tutorial series. In this series what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building this table. We're going to model it out, we're going to UV map it, and we're going to go through the export settings on it again. And similarly to our last barrel series, I'm going to put the wireframe on now just for a quick preview so you get an idea of what we're going to have in the end. So just a little spin around here. Okay. So we're going to use a few different poly primitives to make this, and then once we've modeled it out we're going to use a couple different new UV techniques and then similar export techniques to what we've used in the past. So I'm going to use W and I'm just going to move this out of the way now. I'm just going to shift that off out of the viewport. So before we get started, just the same as in the last two series, I'm just going to change my viewport a bit. I've deleted my preferences again for this, so nothing's changed here in my Maya. Basic bare bones Maya, no settings or custom tools set up. So I'm going to go over here to the right hand side to this tab just tucked into the right here where it says attribute editor. I'm going to click on that, I'm going to hold right click on it, I'm going to hover over tab direction, and I'm going to let go on top, and that's just moved those three tabs up to the top here where they're a bit easier to access. And all we need to do now is just pull out the channel box and the modeling toolkit. So this table is made out of three poly primitives. We've got two cubes and we've got a torus underneath. So we're going to start with the top of the table. So we're going to spawn in our first cube, and we're going to come over to the attribute editor here, and we're going to go to poly cube 1, and we're going to change the width on the cube to 10. We're going to change its height to 0.5, and we're going to change its depth to 6. Now that's given us the sort of base top shape on our table. So what we're going to do next to get this rounded shape on it that we have over here is we're going to use the bevel tool. So what we're doing is we're going to hold right click and go into edge select and let go, and we're going to click one of these vertical edges on the side, we're going to hold shift and we're going to double click the next one, and that's going to highlight all the vertical edges running around in a loop like so. So from here what we want to do is we want to bevel these corners in really harsh so that it gives us a nice curvature running around the edge of the table. So we're going to use the bevel tool, which is this orange cube with these white shaved off corners up here in our little top menu. We're just going to hit that. Now to start with, it gives us this really angular edging on it. Well, we don't want that. So first thing is, these aren't coming in far enough. So to make your bevel come in further, we're going to change the fraction and we're going to make it 0.75, which is going to take it 3/4 of the way in as opposed to half of the way in that the 0.5 was doing. Now it's still really angular, so to fix that we change the segment count. So the segments is how many segments are these faces being divided by, and as we increase the segments it'll increase the curvature as well. So we're going to set the segments to 4 on this, and we're going to tap enter, and we can see there it's smoothed this cornering right off for us. But we'll now have to do another little bit of cleanup because it's created a big end-on the top where we have this multi-sided face with way more than 4 edges on it, which is not what we want. So we'll click off and that'll sort out our bevel and activate that on the model now. So to fix these end-ons, what we're going to use is the multicut tool here, which is these 3 orange lines with a little knife on it. So if we click that, it changes our cursor to this little knife. Now we want to hover over the mesh until we get the points turning this red way like so. So we're going to click on the first one here, and we're going to go over to the other side and click the opposing corner point and click on that and press enter. And we're just going to repeat that process down the mesh like so until we get everything back into quads. So even though this is a funny shape here, it is still 4-sided, which is what we're after. We're just going to repeat that on the other side. The reason we have to do this now is because if we want to apply further bevels to the edge running around here, it's going to help Maya understand the shape if it's all in quads or tris. It's not really going to know how to apply other tools if we have an end-on. So we're going to do the same on the bottom now. we're just going to click and then click the opposing one and hit enter, and just keep doing that like so until we've got it all into quads again. So just this final corner over here now, we're going to click and hit enter, and we're going to click and hit enter like, oh, now I've made a mistake here where I've clicked too far into the mesh and it's created a series of points like so. So if you do that, the way we fix that is we just hit backspace and it will delete out the most recent multi-cut operation. It will keep the one that we had before, so we can just click again and then hit enter. And now that we've done that, to deactivate the multi-cut tool, we just want to come over to the left here and click on the select again, just this big cursor icon. We just want the selection tool, and that takes us out of multi-cut. Now we want to bevel off the top edge running round and the bottom edge running round on the tabletop here, so that we can get a nice light capture when we put this in Engine later, or when we apply smooth shading in Maya. So we're going to hold right click and go to edge. We're going to double click, and that's only because this is still reading it as a cube. It's only going to give us what it pictures as one side of the cube. So it still thinks that this is one long flat side, this is one side, this here is the next, and then this is one long flat side. So we have to individually select the edge ones and then double click again for here, and we're just going to do the same on the bottom. It's really easy to miss one or two edges when you're doing this, and then when you bevel, your bevel will taper off slightly at one point, and we don't want that because it requires going back and sorting it, and it's hard to fix if you get too far into the modelling process. So we're just going to double check we've got all our edges running around now, and we're just going to do the bevel all in one go. So we're going to hit bevel again, and we've got 0.5 bevel, but we'll see what it looks like if we go a little bit higher. So that might be a bit too much. We'll probably just go back to the 0.5, that looked okay. And then we'll just click off and enact that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to move the table up. So we're going to go object mode, we're going to hit W to move, and we're going to pull the table up like so, and we're going to see, is it about right? That looks about right there. It's a bit thick still for a tabletop, so we're going to just scale this in a bit. So to do that, we're going to hit the R key, and that's going to enact scale rather than move, and we're just going to use this little green one, which is the Y direction, and we're going to scale it on the Y just ever so much to make it a bit more natural looking. And there we go. So now we've modelled out our tabletop. In the next video we're going to add the torus underneath, which is going to give us this little support frame here that we can attach the legs to, and we'll bevel that out and we'll get that the way we want it, because when we spawn in a normal torus it's going to have a lot of polys, so we're going to go through how you cut that down and make it work for our needs. But we'll go over that in the next video and we'll cover further bevels. Thank you for watching.